What's up, everyone? It is Tuesday, June the 9th. So, 2 days after the Troy Strawberry Festival. And I wanted to give kind of a post-mortem recap of the show and kind of what went on and how it went and stuff like that. The Troy Strawberry Festival, historically, at least for the past 9 years, is kind of my first really big show that I kick off the season with. And it's always a strong revenue driver. I've done a double booth at the show, I think, for 6 years now, maybe 5 years. And this was my ninth year. It was the 50th anniversary of the Troy Strawberry Festival, so it's been going on a long time. It is well attended by Central Ohio residents. So Dayton, Toledo, Bowling Green, Columbus, Cleveland, all kind of converge to this festival, and they probably get somewhere in the neighborhood of 150,000 people over 2 days, maybe even a little bit more. And it basically celebrates all things strawberries: strawberry shortcake, strawberry donuts, strawberry milkshakes, strawberry lemonade, whatever. And people really come there for the food, but then they have a few hundred vendors as well that are selling arts and crafts and jewelry and things of that such. I personally, as far as food, I personally love the grilled pork chop. They have a pork chop sandwich that is just to die for. But I digress. So I wanted to talk about the show a little bit, kind of having a couple days to think about it. Yesterday, I was so exhausted from the heat and the humidity and all that stuff for 2 days, working your butt off, sitting in a tent, getting up and down, breaking the tent down, and going home. I literally could do nothing. It's the first big show of the year, and I think really the heat just wiped me out. So, but it did give me a lot of time to think about a lot of things. So, with that being said, here's a quick little rundown recap of the show, some of the things that happened, and then I'll just come back after that and talk a little bit about what I kind of deducted were the good and the bad and the ugly of the show, and why things were good and why things weren't good in certain areas, and just come back from that.
Hey, hey, hey. Odwin Newman here, aka Craft Show King. I'm on my way to Troy, Ohio. Troy, Ohio is about 15 miles, maybe 20 miles north of Dayton, Ohio. It's about a 2 hour and 15-minute drive, fairly pleasant drive. This festival, this show, is, in my opinion, one of the best shows around. I've been doing it. I believe this is my ninth or 10th year. I honestly don't know. Hell, might be my, no, it's not my 11th. But anyhow, it's one of the shows that before I got into doing art and craft shows full time, that my buddy Wes told me I had to do. He's like, you got to do this show. And I believe it was when he and his wife Robin were doing shows, and she would do this one, and he would go west and do shows maybe in Iowa. But it's basically a celebration for the town, the small town city of Troy. But by default, it gets people from Columbus, and it gets people from Toledo and Bowling Green up north. It gets people from Dayton, obviously, since it's so close. And probably even gets some people from Cleveland as well. And then all the other pockets of towns, suburbs, and things in the vicinity. And it just, it's so like clockwork. I call it a paycheck. That's what it is. And it's been the same paycheck for 10 years. So it starts your show season off with a bang, which is really, really good, because as the season starts, like you're getting a little tight in the bank account. You've been, churning out money to do shows. You've been buying product so you can make product. um, and it's really the first boom, big banging show. I thought last week's Taste of Cincinnati was going to be at least as good, um, even though it was more days than this show. I just figured I would make substantially more money, but the rain really effed it up big time. And so this show has been pretty much bulletproof, minus I've never done it where it rained during the show. Unfortunately, we've got rain in the forecast to some degree. I think tomorrow evening, maybe. You can open up Friday night. You know, you have to be set up, I think, by 5, and you can open up on Friday night. And traditionally, a lot of people didn't even open up on Friday nights, but the last few years, I've actually done fairly well on Friday night. I mean, and that's money you wouldn't have gotten if you didn't open it up. So, my motto.
There's a lane closure ahead.
My motto is, I drove 2.5 hours to be here. Why would I close down when I can be open and possibly making some money? So it's worked out well. I mean, I've what I've done on Friday has made my Saturday, Sunday number really balloon really well. So I will definitely open tonight. And with the threat of rain coming, there's probably a fair chance that a lot of people, or maybe more people, will be out Friday evening just for that fact, simply because they know that weather might get spotty tomorrow. So one of the reasons why this show is so special for me is it's the first show that I decided to do a double booth setup. So I've got 2 tents in here. When I do the double booths, I mean, I really weight the chuck wagon down pretty substantially. It's got a lot of weight in it right now. So, when I do double booths, those are the times where I really feel like, man, I could use a much bigger transit van. One of the Sprinters, the larger vans, because I really weigh this thing down. Like, man, oh man, it's riding low. And the reason why I just have so much stuff. I more than just the setup. I mean, I think I have probably closer to 400 pieces of art. And each of those tubs probably weighs.
There's construction ahead.
Each of the tubs probably weighs close to, I don't know, 500 pounds. And so, it's a lot. It's a lot. But obviously the objective is to sell, half of it or more, if I'm lucky. The rain really is just come on, I need a break. The Delaware Arts Fair, it rained really good on one of the days. And then the following week, we got Taste of Cincinnati. It rained out one day, rained another day, and threatened rain another day. And it was all good another day. And then this one, which, never has rained on it. It's like, come on, don't give me rain again. But at any rate, obviously hoping for the best, looking for the best. I'm going to try my level best to document stuff that goes on and upload it and get it out there in a more expeditious time frame, and hopefully be able to give some context to what I want to do, what I expect to do, and what I am doing, and kind of talk about why things are the way they are, and we'll see how it goes from there. But historically, it's a great kickoff to summer and the year, and always provides a boost to the bank account that you really, really look forward to. And, fingers crossed I do that again. Just trying to keep Mother Nature's tears away. All right, that's it for now. Stay crafty.
It is 12:12, and from overcast to literally bright, sunny, beautiful day. So this is what we had happen. Amazing that there's still people here. We sheltered in place basically afterwards, but the wind came out of nowhere. A crazy gust of wind came through, and it snapped one of my tent legs. Hey, thank you, John. John came over and helped out. I had a couple customers in here. They helped keep the tents from flying off. Yeah, it sucked, but what else you gonna do? Mother Nature, she does what she does. Anyhow, I'm gonna drink a beer and
It's gonna be all right.
yeah, I'm gonna drink a beer and kind of put some shit together. Best shirts in Ohio. I didn't know they let Hall of Famers in here. Hold on, check him out. So I'm on my way home from the Troy Strawberry Fest. A little bruised and battered, but also very thankful and grateful. It was definitely my lowest Troy's Strawberry Fest to date. Even last year when all the shows were dramatically down, it was the one show that stayed, within range. It's a hard thing to quantify and to figure out, especially on the heels of the Taste of Cincinnati, which weather really, really impacted that a lot. So it's hard to gauge that effectively. But the one before that, the Delaware Arts Fair, was affected by rain to some degree, but still, it was way down the day that the rain didn't affect it. Today was the same way. Sunday is kind of a catch-all day. You really don't know what you're going to get at Troy Strawberry Fest. But it's usually, almost double what I did today. Almost. Maybe 70% more. So maybe not double. But, I usually do substantially better on Sunday. And it's a slower day, but it usually is a steadier trickle, if that makes any sense. So, it was hard to figure. I mean, I had so many return customers, people who bought from me before, and like you don't even know how much I appreciate that and how good you feel, one, to see those people and talk to them again. Because some people can't buy it. They just can't buy every year, run out of wall space. But, just a portion of people who do buy again is amazing to me. And then the people who did buy that hadn't seen it before and bought more than one, it's just so amazing that your stuff can become a special gift for someone's Father's Day celebration and all things like that. But I do know that a big hindrance for me was my price point. I just heard it so many times, and I'm not sure exactly what to do about it. I can't make a smaller thing, and I'm not really into making stickers and magnets and selling $2 items or $5 items. But maybe I can make prints of certain images. The problem is people like the cutout of the state for the most part. They just don't want to be charged $45 to $75. And so how I rectify that, I really just don't know. I've got a couple weeks before my next show, so I'm going to do some real serious thinking and soul searching and just come up with some ideas and come back at it when I do this show in Valparaiso. But it was definitely, price was an issue, and I don't know if it was just the price on my stuff or the fact that people are just really tight because of gas and fuel charges and stuff like that. I don't know. I have no way of knowing. I do know that many of the food vendors did not sell as much as they normally do, like the strawberry shortcake, which is a hot item. They had to lower the price of it. I think the price went up to $8. It was $5 and went up to $8 this year, and I believe they had to lower it down back to the $5 to move them on today. And I don't know if that's connected to the same stuff that I dealt with. My friends Jen and John, they were down, and other vendors that I talked to were down. Of course, Brent, who's next to me, sells jewelry. He said he kind of did okay. So it is what it is. It's the weather definitely impacted yesterday. I was probably down. Yeah, I was probably down a third yesterday for sure, but that's to be expected when you have straight line winds come in and blow the damn thing up. But the fact that you did as good as I did shows how strong that show is, and why we always come back. I mean, I can't, if I've done it for 9 years and this is the first, or 8 years and this is the first year that I consider subpar, I'd be crazy not to come back. And I really need to take a hard look at, presentation and the stuff that I'm offering. But, I did some new stuff and it barely got sniffed. These beehive, honeycomb things, and even Vicky said they were cute. People, when they see it, they think it's cool, but then, I only sold 2 of them. And it's like, how's that possible? One thing I wanted to mention is that Saturday, so yesterday, Toledo, which is about maybe 2 hours north of here. It's not that far, but whatever. Hour and a half north of Troy, Ohio. They had a summer festival going on, and there was a mass shooting where I believe 12 people were shot, and I think maybe even a few people might have died. I don't know that for sure. It was on the news, and then I was talking to a couple of other vendors about it. And, Brent had mentioned that maybe that kind of played a part in the crowd not being nearly as busy as we thought it would be, because there was no threat of rain. It was hot as hell, but there was no threat of rain. And there were tons of people that didn't show up on Saturday because of all of the weather and the rain. So we thought all of those people would come on Sunday, but they really didn't. The crowd never swelled the way it normally does. So it's like one of those things, like you don't really know, and you have to question everything. And as I said before, you want to evaluate all of the pluses and minuses while it's all strong in your head, because hell, next week there's a ton of things that I just won't even remember. And so I'll write stuff down. I was writing stuff down during the show, and a couple things I know I need. I need another Blue Jackets, and I'm working on a Johnny Gaudreau, and I definitely need a Cristiano Ronaldo, because I have the Messi, and I sold a couple Messis, but if you got one, you got to have the other. It's like, I don't know. The kids always say, "Oh my God, there's Messi. Where's Ronaldo? Where's Ronaldo? I don't see Ronaldo. Where's Ronaldo?" So I have to work on that, get that done, and just go back to the drawing board, literally and figuratively, and kind of break this thing down and figure out how I can build a bigger, better mousetrap. So that's pretty much all I have for now. I think if I think of some more stuff, I'll bring it up. I will say it was awesome to take a trip to the levee and talk to Ryan. I talked to Eric and Patrick about the caricature artists I know. I think Kennedy was there as well, and Matt. And then I saw Kivas, who's up there, who I talked about before, black dude, twisted wire art. It's great just talking to people. I talked to George, does the wire trees. These people are like these are your peers, and only the people that do this and go through the same thing you go through, those are only people that really fully understand it. You have to be sitting in a humid, sweating tent for 11 hours doing your damn best to sell stuff to really understand and know the plight of a traveling artist. There's just no one else that understands it. You couldn't even come close to explaining it. And so it's good when you get to break bread with them. Went out and had dinner with Steve and Suzanne, Henry and Anna last night, and it's cool. Like, you get centered, and they have great ideas, and they also talk about other shows, and you just get stuff that you can build upon from talking to people that you can relate to doing this. So, all right, I'm gonna pounce off and continue driving home, and looking forward to getting home to Vicky and Rama, and looking forward to just kind of decompressing for a couple weeks too. I don't have any shows for a little bit. On one hand, I wish I did, but it's probably best to kind of reset right now, and I'll go get back on the horse and hopefully ride the horse better than I have these past 3 shows. So, all right, later. As always, stay crafty. All right, we're back. So, basically what you saw, especially at the end, you basically saw me recapping, just kind of perplexed about how the show didn't produce as much as most of the shows I've done for the Strawberry Fest have produced. In my 9 years doing it, I did it 2 years in a place called the Levee. Things were okay, but not really good. And I knew that based on my conversations with other artisans, that people were making a lot more money there. And I think I did like 2,400 or 2,800 one year, then 2,400 the next year. And I was like, man, that's not going to cut it, because I knew people that were doing $8,000 to $10,000 or stuff like that. And so I basically let the programmers know, hey, if I can't be moved in town, I just don't want to come back. And they said, hey, no promises, but we'll try. And I said, well, if you can't, just understand I'm not going to come back. And so fortunately for me, they were able to find me a space in town, and I've been there for 6 straight years or 7 straight years. And all those years, the lowest that I've made has been $6,000, and so it's a good show to start your year off. It's good revenue, and I honestly, making $4,000 is a bit of a shocker, because that's down almost 30%, and I've got the same product and blah 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 blah, but there are some things that I realized in hindsight that I think played a big difference. Economy is definitely a part of it. Things are tight. The food vendors had to raise their prices because their goods cost is more, and other vendors had to raise their prices. They're paying a little bit more for gas than we are in Indiana. I think their gas was like $3.69 or $3.79. It's like $3.20 here, so that's 50 cents difference. That makes a difference. But when I did a real breakdown thinking about it, I mean, I had a ton of return customers, a ton. And I'm so appreciative of them because they really keep the lights on. And I had some new customers, but just not as many as I normally do. And the new customers that came just kind of, made the point, well, I'm a fan of such and such, but I'm not that much of a fan. Or I would get this for Paul, but Paul might have to buy that one on his own. It's a little too salty. So my price point was definitely a bit of a thing. The weather played a part in it too. It did. When the storms came in and just wiped things out, and people came back, but it's just hard to get back in the vibe and the mood of shopping. I understand some of the food vendors took a drop in their revenue this year as well. And so that's the thing. But then another thing, it was really, really hot. Like, it was really hot. Like, hot where you're not comfortable just standing in one place. So it makes it tough to even go in someplace and shop, and let alone walk around and carry something all day or for 3 hours. It felt like it was 98 degrees. I know it wasn't, but the heat index had to be through the roof. So I know that played a portion in it as well. And, kind of my takeaway is it's not like it was so dramatic a drop that I'm just like, oh shit, wasn't like that. But it's definitely enough for me to be weary and think, next year have even more different things, have a different setup, and probably have some lower priced items as well. If economically things stay as stretched thin as they are for most people. So it's still a fantastic show. I'm glad I have a couple weeks to kind of think things through and maybe come up with a different approach. But, as someone who's done the show as many years as I have, I know it's a strong show. So having some vendor neighbors of mine also have a drop in their revenue this year makes me feel a little better. But you can't stay in the fetal position. You got to kind of get back up and get your head in the game and, just go for it. So that's what I'm going to do. So all that being said, it was I'm grateful for everything I sold. Fantastic seeing and talking to people that I have talked to before. That's another thing. There were a lot of people who came by and said, hey, I bought this for Daddy last year, or I bought the Wu Pig Sui for Grandma, and that's the same one. That's what I bought last year, or, and so sometimes it's like, people can't only buy a certain thing only once. Like, and I don't have a lot of Arkansas or Tennessee or, North Carolina or whatever the case may be. So I kind of need to add more things, more diversity to the palette, for lack of a better term, to give people more reason to come in and possibly get something. And that's always a work in progress. So that's one I will continue to do. So with that being said, it was a good show. Wasn't fantastic, wasn't as good as normal, but I still count it as a solid show. And I appreciate everyone that's supported me for all these years and came back this year and supported me. And of course, the new people that came on board as well. So I'm looking to, kind of rest, recoup. I'm doing, try to finish like 3 or 4 or 5 new images before I do my next show. And I'll get back at it. It's going to get fast and furious real quick. So got to be ready. All right. Peace. Stay crafty, everybody.